have you got your house in order? You see, if someone had asked me that 2 or 3 years ago, my answer would have been a big fat no. Because my house, it was more like a pack of cards, a house of cards, just waiting to come crashing down. Some of you mothers might relate. Washing on the couch. I mean, it's clean, it's folded, but it's still there, breathing. And sometimes as a mother, the simplest instructions just seem to get lost in translation. Like when my son, he comes running up to me because he's excited to have a Kindle, and he's like, Mum, can I download some books on my Kindle? And I'm like, yeah, go for it, go nuts. Well, 48 Geronimo Stalk books later at $380, I could have been more specific. And things like, they have their own interpretation of what you say. So don't use too much shampoo. Well, of course, that directly translates as use up all the shampoo. So sometimes as a mother, we just have to take some time for us, take some solitude and bring some joy into our life. So I got some of those socks from the washing pile, and I decided to Marie Kondo my sock drawer. And it was great for a day. So then I found myself wanting to take some time for me to revive and revitalise. So there I am. I've got both doors shut and I'm in the bathroom for 2 minutes. And I don't even get that. My son, he walks in. Mum, I can't find my lunchbox. And my daughter, Mum, can you sign this note for school? And my husband walks in, hey, darling, can you tell me what time? And there we have it, the all too familiar family meeting in the bathroom. Any one of those things could have been that thing that brought my house of cards crashing down. So one night, I'm sitting at the computer and I'm typing away at the kitchen table, and I'm trying to stay awake because I'm falling asleep because it's late at night. Well, in fact, it's actually now really early in the morning. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm eating cashew nuts to stay awake, and I keep falling asleep. And I'm trying to write report comments like I would have written before I was a teacher, before I was a parent. And I'm trying to do my best for these kids and write the best report comments. And during the day, I'm trying to be the best mum I can be and give my energy to my children. And I'm still trying to be the best wife I can be and live up to some domestic goddess status. And I'm still trying to be the teacher that I used to be. And I'm grieving. I'm grieving for the confident, the energy that I used to have. And I'm just tired, and I'm fatigued, and I'm overwhelmed, and I feel like I've just got no time for me because I'm giving my energy away to everybody else, and I'm juggling all these balls. And the ball that I go and drop is health. So I meet with my husband the next night, and I say, we've just got to do something about health. So we start digging deep into our reason why we want health. And the deeper we dig, the reason is, I want to do it for my children because I don't want them to grow up thinking they have to be a martyr and they have to give the energy away. So we embark on this 3-month journey, and we start getting into eating healthy and getting into food psychology and getting more of the good stuff in. And after 3 months, I reconnect with that old self. And suddenly I have the energy and I feel revitalized. And so I start digging into other models of health. And I came across the model of health that we use in New Zealand health, which is Te Whare Tapa Whā, Sir Mason Durie's model of health. And he looks at health as a house. And he looks at the 4 pillars of health as the 4 walls of this house. So we have the first wall, which is our physical wall. It looks at strengthening the body. And the second wall looks at the mental and emotional well-being. The third wall looks at our spiritual well-being. And the last wall looks at our sense of family and social well-being and that sense of connection. And you see, I had realised that health was my first wealth. And my health had rippled into so many other areas of my life because I had been working on this first. Well, I'd been getting in my green drinks, eliminating processed food, getting in my water, doing my breathing, and anchoring in my why. And I had built this first wall of my house by nurturing with nourishment. And now that I'd nurtured my body, well, I now had to nurture my mind. And you see, by doing that, there was a really interesting thing that happened. I was going to start making sure that I focused my mind. And it was one of the best things that I could have done. I was thinking about what I could do with my computer, and I was going, right, what can I do with my house business? And I'm working away, and this email came through. And it was the most incredible opportunity. It was an opportunity to go to Africa and to spend time with the Hadza. And I was like, this is the opportunity to live life the way we would have thousands of years ago with some of the last hunter-gatherers in the world. And I was like, this is an incredible opportunity. This is something so cool that someone else would do. And that's what I thought. This is something so cool that someone else would do. And there we go. There was an old inner critic just beavering away. Oh, you couldn't do that. Oh, you're not capable. Oh, you're just a mother. Luckily, my love for learning had directed my focus. And focus, well, it can go either way. It's like waiting for a roller coaster ride. Some people are feeling the fear, and others are insanely enthusiastic. And it's whether we view it as like a negative or a positive thing. And I had played this game. Wouldn't it be fun if? This imaginative game, I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I did my coaching training and really skilled up on health? And wouldn't it be fun by doing coaching, I met incredible mentors and colleagues. And wouldn't it be fun by meeting these mentors and colleagues that I got invitations to travel and have insane adventures, and that just blew my mind. And here was all that in an email. So I applied. I applied to spite my inner critic. And I realised that you can feel the fear, but you just have to focus on the excitement by focusing your mind. And that was the second wall of my house. So I was on the way to Africa, and there's a whole other TED talk about why you don't pack through the night, how to set an alarm, and gratitude for mothers that ring you when you're meant to be at the airport check-in. But I get there and I find 43 hours and airports and that, and I'm finally there and I'm with the Hadza. And I am lying at the bottom of this baobab tree and I'm looking up. I'm in my sleeping bag. I mean, during the days, I have seen things like scorpions and snake trails and weird millipedes that eject cyanide and, and lions, but I'm not thinking of any of those sorts of things. I am lying down looking at this baobab tree and this huge trunk, and it's glowing red because the firelight is hitting it. And up the top of the baobab tree are tiny stars breaking through the branches. And the light of the moon's coming down, and I can hear the fireside chatter of the tribesmen, and the clicks, the laughter, the storytelling. I look up, and there's these huge arrows in the tree, and on these arrows are all the bows that the hunters are going to use tomorrow for the hunt. And I can reach out and I can touch these bows. And I'm lying there and I'm so comfortable and I'm so connected to nature, and I'm now fighting to stay awake. And I realise this is lifting my spirit up, and I feel so comfortable. And it reminds me of when my little boy was in bed and he was doing that hook when you're just about to leave the room. Oh, Mum, I know what I'm going to be when I grow up. And I'm like, thinking, mate, I've got so many things to do, dishes, washing to fold, reports to write. But I don't say that. I say, yeah, what's that? He said, I'm going to be a fireman. No, I'm going to be a magician. No, I'm going to be a plastic extraordinaire. And if I wasn't wasn't present in that moment, I would not have known that a plastic extraordinaire saves the world from plastic. And it was that same being present in the moment when a little 4-year-old girl grabbed my hand and said, Mum, can we do a moon dance? And before you know it, a mum, dad, a little girl outside doing a moon dance. It's the importance of connecting with nature, of being present in the moment, not thinking of the past or the future, but being in that moment and doing things that lift your spirit up. And that is that third wall of the house. And just like I was grateful to be looking up at that baobab tree, I was so grateful to meet the chief of the Hadza tribe. This is the chief. His name is hang on. Had to work on that. And I gave him a pounamu. And it was great to experience firsthand that whole notion of it takes a village to raise a child. And in this community, everyone had their role. Like, if a woman was having a baby, all the women were there to support her. And if a man was going out hunting, well, all the men, they went out together. And there was no jealousy. That was a foreign concept to them. And no conflict. Can you imagine that? No conflict. They lived in a state of gratitude. And I was so grateful because I was out hunting with this chief. And we're out on this hunt and we're walking along, and then suddenly the chief stops. So we stop and we look and we wait and we don't make a sound because we don't want to distract or disturb anything that's there. And then he starts walking, so we start walking. And he sees this baboon track. And so we're off and we're tracking this baboon and we're running behind them, and then all of a sudden we lose the chief and the 2 tribesmen, and we don't know where we are, we don't know how to get back, and we don't even know, we're just sitting there as lion bait. And if we go forward, we might get hit by arrows. Luckily, we spot one of the tribesmen, so we head over that way, and we head over to this tribesman. And if you ever want to see what the human body can do when you eat the right stuff and when you use your body the way it's meant to be, this tribesman, he's pulling back his bow, and the muscles across his back are rippling across his shoulder, and he's pulling back this bow, and he pulls back the arrow, and he shoots the arrow up into the tree, and it hits nothing. We don't hear the thud because he missed the bird. And so we wait for the interplay. We look at the chief, we look at the tribesman, and the chief starts taking the mick, and the tribesman starts laughing, and these 2 are having a joke about it. And I'm thinking, this might be all you get to eat all day. I've seen golfers have a worse reaction to missing a shot. But it reminded me of the importance of enduring relationships, of connection, that sense of family and social well-being. And that is that 4th wall. And another day, I was out with this tribeswoman, and we were hunting and gathering, and she was digging up tuber roots, and we were slicing them and eating a bit of tuber root. And then suddenly, there was this great excitement about this tree. And so we go over because this tree is buzzing. And one of the tribesmen, well, he's hacking into this tree, he's hacking in, and he brings over a big chunk of the trunk. And so we're looking at this, and inside are tiny bees about the size of a pinhead, and bees' eggs. So we try some of these bees' eggs, and we're eating them, and they burst like lemon in your mouth. And they're delicious. And then we try the honey. And this honey, there's still bees, tiny little bees in this honey, and it's dripping down my hand. And I haven't showered for quite a few days, but I tell you, I'm licking my fingers clean to get every last bit. This honey is that good. And then what the tribeswoman does next is she does something that completely changes my view on motherhood. She takes this trunk and she walks over to the rest of the tribe. And the kids, they see it and they know, and they come running and they're all excited, like bees to a honey pot. Yay, give us the honey, give us the honey. And she stands there and she shoos them all away. And I'm thinking, well, that's a bit rough. These kids want the honey. Give them the honey. Why don't you give them the honey? But she doesn't. She shoos them all away. And what she does is she then proceeds to go and feed every single one of the mothers first. And only once she's fed every single mother, only then does she proceed to then feed the children. And that's when I get it. We've got it all wrong. If she doesn't feed those mothers and they don't survive, then those children don't survive. We need to taste the sweetness in life in order to give to others. We need to nurture the nurturer. And just like Sir Mason Durie's model of health, we need to ask ourselves, is our house in order? Are we addressing those four walls of our health? Because when I asked myself that question, my life completely changed. Are we looking after our physical health, our mental and emotional health, our spiritual health, our sense of family and social well-being? Because that was the key thing. If we don't put our own oxygen mask on, then we're not getting our fair share of the honey. And if we don't do it for ourselves, then we need to do it for the young eyes that are watching, the young ears that are listening and learning. The biggest gift we can give our children is to teach them to nurture their body, their mind, their thoughts, their spirit, their family, their relationships. Get your house in order. Nurture your happiness by nurturing yourself. Thank you.